Hey guys, what's up? It's Deprimido. Welcome back to the channel. Today I am showing you this Blueface type beat that I made, and I'm going to be walking you through all of the different components of it. So, jumping right into the melody, I just used FL keys here. It's a very simple sound, and this is the melody. And so in Blueface beats, it's usually a piano melody with very short hits, and it's very spaced out. Usually it doesn't have a lot going on, which you can kind of see here, and it's usually minor. So that's what I did for the melody. I also later on in the song copied that onto this flute right here that I got out of Sakura. Sounds like this. And so that's all that I did for the melody. He always has really simple melodies. And by the way, this is coming in at around 126. It's a little bit fast for a Blueface song. He usually works anywhere from like 98 to 113. But 126 sounded the best on this particular melody and beat, so I went with that. Next, getting into the drums, I made this hat pattern. He tends to have pretty simple hats with not a ton going on, and this is what it sounds like. I added in a pretty standard clap. It's just on 3 of every measure, just like with most trap songs and almost all Blueface songs. I also added this percussion pattern. I made this kick pattern. Again, it's just similar to all of the other drums. It's very simple. Sounds like this. I followed the kick with an 808, and it's all on the same note, which is C, which is the key of the song, except for on the whenever it hits on 1, I also put a note higher up on the octave. It sounds like this. Along with the kick and the 808, I did this open hi-hat pattern. Blueface songs tend to have an open hi-hat following the bass line of the kick and the 808, so it sounds like this. Then for embellishments, I made this small pattern just with a crash cymbal on it. I also used the same crash cymbal in order to make this reverse crash cymbal. It sounds just like that. And the other embellishment that I added was I added in a pattern with just some hat stutters. It sounds like this. On the piano, I put fruity reverb, just a little bit of fruity flanger, and sound goodizer. I didn't really use any effects on the other sounds other than EQs and simple things like that. And so now I've gone over all of the patterns, so let's jump into the arrangement. So you can see right here, I had the piano melody going almost all the way across, except for the second verse where I placed it with the flute melody. I also have some sound effects in here. We've got my beat tag right here, the symbol that I showed you earlier, and also this gun cocking sound. Those are all of the effects I used. In the beginning, I did the intro with just the fruity FL keys, and I added a little bit of gross beat. I added it at 30%, which is half speed, and I also added an EQ just to pinch the sound a little bit, and you can see the EQ right here. It makes it much smaller, so it sounds like this. In comparison to this. In the second bar, I came in with the hi-hat and the clap, and halfway through I added the kick and the 808. Then right before the drop, I put in that reverse cymbal, my beat tag, and the gun cock sound effect. For the third bar, I put in everything, including this cymbal that I showed you earlier, with no effects on that. That carries through to the fourth bar, and I take the perk out in the fourth bar. Then in the fifth bar, we go to the verse. So it's just the melody, the hi-hat, and the clap. And on the clap, I put this parametric EQ to pinch the sound just a little bit, which you can hear right here. In comparison to this. It's not a big difference, but it's definitely noticeable. Then in the sixth bar, I took out the main hi-hat, I added in the open hi-hats, and I added in the perk, although I cut one of them out in the middle. Then towards the end of that bar, I also put in this cymbal again, and then we go back into the chorus, which does again start out with the cymbal hitting. It's got the melody and the hi-hat, clap, and the 808 get cut out a beat early, which you can hear right here. It also has this gun cock sound effect right at the end of that. The kick goes all the way through, and the open hat goes all the way through. It doesn't have the perk at all. The next bar is the same, although it does have the perk, and it does not cut out any of the sounds at the end. Then we get to a very interesting part of the arrangement. Right here, it's the second verse. Instead of the piano melody, it's the flute melody. It's got the hi-hats, the clap, the kick, the 808, the open hats, and the perks, as well as the hi-hat stutters. It sounds like this. And if you're wearing headphones, you can hear that I panned each sound going back and forth across the headphones, just like this. I did that with each sound that's playing, so you can hear that. It's not super noticeable, but if you think about it, you can definitely hear it, and it makes it a lot more interesting. Then in the second bar, everything is sitting where it landed in terms of the panning. So the flute is all the way to the right, the hi-hat is all the way to the left, things like that. And I took out the kick, 808, and open hi-hat. I also took out the hi-hat stutters, but it's still the flute instead of the main melody. Then in the second to last bar, I put the melody back in, so everything is in, including the flute. This is the only time that the flute and the piano melodies are layered. I also put the hi-hat stutters in on 1 and 3 of that bar. And then we have the final bar, and it has everything except for the clap and the perk, as well as the flute. And the hi-hat stutters only come in halfway through, and that's how it ends, so you can hear that. And I put the very first note of the keyboard melody back on at the end so that it resolves like that. And that is the whole beat. So yeah, thank you for watching. If you make any Blueface beats and you use this as a tutorial, comment them in the description and I will watch them and let you know what I think. Thanks for watching, I really appreciate it. If you want to buy this beat, it will be linked in my Beatstars, which is in the description. You can also listen to it on my Beat channel or on my Soundcloud, which are both linked in the description. And yeah, I really appreciate you watching. I'll see you in the next video.